Okay guys, so I got Frankenstein in the shop today. It's having a pretty serious issue. I'm going to let it cool down here. Been running it. And while it cools down, I'm going to give you guys a little background of the issue that I'm having. Now the truck run fine when I first got it. You can notice in the intro video on this, on the passenger side, the exhaust was kind of like popping or missing. It's always had that since I bought it. I was thinking maybe it was a coil pack or something that wasn't firing as good as it should have been or something. But I don't think that's the issue anymore. Anyway, run the truck. It seemed to run fine. Hooked up my plow and plowed with it a little bit. And then shortly after hooking up the plow, I started having a really serious issue with raw fuel coming out the tailpipes. Now I thought it was coming out of both tailpipes, but once I hooked my scan tool up to it and started looking at the data, I realized it was on one side only, on the passenger side. And I confirmed that by going out and smelling the exhaust on each side. This truck has a dual exhaust. It's a true dual from the engine all the way back. They never meet. And it was pretty obvious that this is a passenger side issue only. The computer, when I did get some data, it's hard to get data because this problem, it happens and then like a switch goes off and it fixes itself. So it's off and on. It's hard to get data on this thing. But when I did get data, the passenger side bank was trying to defuel the system. This side was trying to defuel itself, but raw fuel was still coming out the tailpipe. I believe it was negative 30% is what I saw one time. So even though it was cutting the fuel back, raw fuel is still getting dumped out the tailpipe. I think I have an injector that is sticking off and on. I didn't know they stuck off and on. I thought maybe when an injector stuck, it just stuck open and that was it. But this one appears to be sticking and unsticking, possibly maybe not even firing all the time, right? Maybe it's sticking shut. That's that little pop or miss that I heard even from the beginning when I bought the truck. So that pretty much narrows it down to the passenger side here. And it can't be fuel pressure regulated because that regulates both sides. So you're talking maybe a hot harness issue over here. When it was having the issue, I grabbed the wiring harnesses and I wiggled them and I moved them and I tugged on them. Didn't really change anything. So I'm kind of going to eliminate a harness issue. That really leaves coil packs or injectors as the issue. So here are my current fault codes. I'm going to ignore the O2 sensor one because there's an issue causing that to do that. You can see there's also a cylinder 8 misfire detected. Now I've been following this problem, following my fault codes, and cylinder 8 seems to come up a lot. So what I did to try to eliminate a coil pack issue was I took the coil pack from cylinder 8, I moved it to cylinder 6 to see if that misfire would move to number 6, and I've not seen cylinder 6 misfire. So what that tells me is I don't think I'm looking at a coil pack issue on this thing. I would say cylinder number 8 injector is sticking open and sticking shut, I think. That's what I'm getting from this data that I've been working on and following this problem. I've got 8 injectors here. These are not new injectors. They are a Delphi original the original OEM injectors. Supposedly these have been checked, they've been cleaned, spray pattern checked, and then I guess flow matched. I got a set of 8 of these. I'm not going to do all 8 of them. I am tempted to just do number 8 and see if that fixes my problem. But the thing is I'm probably going to pull the fuel rail out. And I don't know why I would just do 1 if I got the whole fuel rail out. It just seems like a lot of work not to change them all. I mean, I'd love to find out what the problem exactly was. But I don't know. I really don't want to do this job a second time. But anyway, we're going to, I guess, try to take this fuel rail out. I'm going to let it cool down a little more because it's kind of warm and I don't want hot or fuel dumping on hot components here. So I'll be back, guys. We're going to start, I guess, taking out this injector rail on the passenger side and changing out some injectors. Okay, guys, so we're looking at the top of the motor here. Normally there's a cover here. You're going to have to take that off to gain access to all this. Once that cover is gone, you can see this fuel rail pretty good. On the passenger side is a lot easier to get to than the driver's side. The driver's side is buried in a whole bunch of harnesses there. So I'm glad the issue is on this side. We're after this rail right here. It's held on with 2 bolts, one there, one there. Also, you've got a fuel line going into the rail. There is an O-ring there. I'm hoping I can get enough room to move this up out of the way. Might have to loosen it up on that side. We'll see how that goes. Also, I'm going to take all this harness. We're going to unplug everything. The EGR is right there. The injectors. You can see there's a tab right there. You got to push on the tab, pull it up, and it'll unlock it. There's 4 of those on each side. There's the injector right there. Now, number 8, this is the back one. So that, if you had one up here, you're after number 2 and you were going to change that one out, I mean, that'd be ideal. That ain't the way it works most of the time. So I think I'm just going to try to pull this whole rail out. I think that's going to be the easier way than trying to just kind of lift it up and get one in there. Like I said, I'm going to pull all my harness out of the way here. And we're going to get these bolts off, and then I'll come back and we'll go to the next step. So one thing you're going to need to do is bleed the pressure out of the fuel system to be able to change an injector. First thing I did was I started the truck. I found my fuel pressure relay in the electrical center. I pulled that and just let the truck run out of fuel, let it die. Turn the ignition off, replace the fuel pump relay. Now, next thing I'm going to do here to get the rest of the pressure out of the system is there's a Schrader valve right here. I'm going to take a rag, I'm going to cover that, and I'm going to push on this valve with a screwdriver just to relieve the rest of the pressure on the system. That should get most of it out. You still want to be careful when you're pulling this stuff apart that you don't get sprayed with fuel. Another thing is use common sense. Don't do anything stupid. Don't let fuel spray on hot engine parts. Like I said, common sense, guys. Don't do anything stupid. Fuel and hot parts don't mix. Once I get that fuel pressure relieved we can start pulling the rest of the fuel system apart. Okay, so I took the retainer and bolt off of this fuel line here. Now, I'm probably going to be a little lucky here because I think this has been took apart before. But you just pull that apart. Like I said, I think I got real lucky here because the guy before me, I think I know he did the intake gaskets. So this has probably been all pulled apart. And I'm just going to move that out of the way. And gonna wiggle this up to get my injectors out here. Okay, so there's the injector rail out. And you just gotta wiggle it back and forth, up and down, move that line around a little bit. You can get it out. You can get the whole injector rail out. There's the injectors. They got O-rings on each one of them there. You got O-rings top and bottom. But I think I'm just going to replace them all, guys. You know, I'd like to just replace number 8, see what it does, but I'd really just like to fix the problem. So I think I'm just going to replace them all. To get them off the rail, there's a clip you got to pull off here. Okay, to pull these injectors off, there's a clip here. You pull that up. You may or may not need a screwdriver to do that. Like I said, I think the guy has already been into this already. So once you get that clip off, there's an O-ring in there, and the injector should come out here. Okay, you gotta put quite a bit of pressure to get these out. And there you go. This is injector number 8. If I wanted to replace just injector number 8, I'd just swap it out. Okay, so install is the reverse of removal here. You want to get your O-ring lubed up, your new O-ring with fuel. You never want to push these O-rings in dry. You will wreck them. So once you get the orientation right, you're going to push it up in there gently. Till it's all the way up there. You're going to take your clip. You're going to reinstall it. Make sure your clip is sitting right, which mine is not. Push your clip all the way down, and there you go. New injector installed. Also, before you put this into the truck, you're going to also want to lube up that new O-ring. Like I said, never put O-rings in dry. You will ruin them. Okay guys, so I got her back installed. Again, just like removal, kind of got to wiggle all this stuff around to get it in there. Make sure you lube up your O-rings. This one here, make sure it snaps in all the way. I had a little trouble getting that one back in, but make sure it gets in all the way. I've got it all back in, bolts all back in place. I'm going to get my harness back over here. We're going to plug it in. I'm going to turn the key on. I'm not going to fire it up. We're going to look for leaks, make sure we don't have any fuel leaks. If you do, you probably tore one of your O-rings or something, or pinched one of your O-rings or whatever, and you have to replace that. But I did end up going with just replacing number 8 in the back there. This ain't really that bad of a job. I feel like if I do this and it doesn't fix it, I'll just pull the rail off again and we'll just replace them all. But I'm pretty sure that number 8 there is the issue here. I don't see any leaks. Let's see if she fires up. I don't hear that pop back here that I used to hear. It used to pop every once in a while. Sounds good. I still hear what I think might be, I thought it was an injector ticking. Maybe it's the lifters, but I don't know. I'll go for a test drive. We'll see what it does. Okay, so first impressions here, just getting out of the shop, letting it warm up here. Idle has improved. Before, the idle seemed kind of a little shaky, but idle seems a lot better. We'll see what happens once it warms up. It's not totally warmed up yet. So we'll go for a ride. We'll see what it does. Okay, so I've been running the truck. I actually run the truck on one new injector, number 8, and the problem came back. So I went in, replaced the rest of the injectors on this side of the motor, and it's still doing the problem. Truck feels like it's running better with the 4 new cleaned injectors. The pop that I used to hear on the passenger side exhaust is gone. Funny thing is, I hear a pop now on the driver's side exhaust, which I'm not sure exactly what the deal is there. But it is still on this side. The problem still too much fuel on the passenger side, bank 2. So injectors apparently wasn't the problem, but it does seem to run better on the 4 injectors. I did get 8 injectors, so I will do the driver's side. I'm going to replace those probably when I get my coils. That's the next thing I'm going to replace here, guys, is the coils. Because other than that, I'm not sure what the issue is. Okay, I can show you the codes I got now. If this thing's going to focus on me. These are the codes I got now. When I first put the new injector in, the other codes went away. But this is what I've got now. The O2 sensor, high voltage, bank 2 sensor 1. That's the problem I'm having. It's dumping raw fuel. out the exhaust, so that makes sense. We got multiple cylinder misfire detected, which I guess that makes sense too. I thought it was number 8 because number 8 was coming up a lot as I was watching these codes and faults come up. And then now we've got a new one here. It says bank 1, system 2 lean. That's kind of a new one. I've not seen that one. I don't know if this one side now is running so good with the new injectors that the other side now is running lean. I don't know. But these are the codes I got. The check engine light is not on. It went out when I did the injectors, and I haven't seen it come back on. But you can see here it does have new codes being set, which I thought was interesting, why the check engine light went out after I did the injector. But I don't know. I guess my next thing, like I said, I'm going to be doing new coil packs. I'm probably going to get some MSD performance coil packs for this. I think it's a good upgrade, and you know, these coil packs are probably pretty old. I wanted to do this to midnight, not this truck, but I guess we'll do it to this truck first, and hopefully we'll get this problem fixed. So what I could do is I could swap the coils from this side to the other side and see if the problem moves to the driver's side, but I just don't feel like doing the job twice. I'm just gonna get the new coils, we'll drop them in there. I feel like it's an upgrade anyway for the truck. It's gonna help it run better, and I think it's just a win-win situation to replace the coils. Yes, is it gonna cost more? Yes, it's gonna cost more than just replacing 1 or 2 bad coils, but I don't think it's number 8 or number 6, I don't think. But the problem is so random. I can't just test for a bad coil because it's running fine, and then it runs bad, then it runs fine. So I wish I could just run through and test each coil and see, but it's not going to be as easy as that. So I'm just going to get a whole new set, and we'll go from there. We're going to get some coil packs ordered, guys, and then we'll probably, when I do that, when I do the coil packs and pull them off here, I'm going to do my driver's side injectors. So we'll get a fresh set of injectors in this, fresh coil packs. We'll see if that fixes the problem. If not, I'm going to have to say there must be something wrong with the wiring harness on this side or something. So when I get my coil packs, I'll be back, guys. We'll continue diagnosing this. Hopefully we'll get her fixed next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next one.
Well, I grew up in one of them old farm towns where they hit it hard till the sun goes down. Nobody really seemed to care that we were living in the middle of nowhere. We just figured that's how it was.